sub, they had to quickly pull him in. So I believe that means there's going to be a lost ban on the side of PTP. And I think Pentakill Teemo Please desperately needs as many bans as possible.
Oh yeah, especially against a team like Terracotta. Antunes usually draws that Thresh ban every game. Honestly, it's really nice to see a returning champion come back to the league in Antunes in the bot lane. He's been one of the best performing supports, so he usually draws a couple of bans. And I think, if I'm correct, Pentakill Teemo has lost 2 bans, so it's going to be really difficult to get the usual pinch that you'd be expecting. So Terracotta's going to have plenty of options for where they want to go with their team composition.
They are. And before we go too much farther on, I do want to point out that these picks and bans are actually really interesting because it's Black Square. Black Square is probably the most powerful champion in League of Legends right now. I don't know if I'm the only one seeing this, but they have essentially taken over a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a Riot affiliated game, so bugs are to be expected. But honestly, with the first ban coming out is Xerath, Terracotta is going to go for that. Is that a target ban, or is something
it is?
That
Brown Jesus actually performed very, very well on the Xerath in a previous game, and just as a general rule, I think banning artillery mages on someone who's capable of playing them is a very, very smart play. Same thing with getting rid of a champion like Zarya, which can be flexed into the mid and top lane. Obviously, it feels like Terracotta is more worried about the AP champions coming out, worrying about the later game mages, earlier game mages, shutting them down, and then just scaling into the late game. So they're probably going for a little bit more of a scrap comp, most likely going to try and get some team fights, some early leads, get that snowball rolling, get those objectives down, which Terracotta has actually been doing a really good job at.
Yeah, their macro has been one of the best of the teams in the league so far, and I do like the direction they've gone for. They went with 1 artillery mage, 1 zone control mage, and then a tanky support option that is usually one of the stronger options into what Antunes likes to play if he chooses to go that Lulu. Now, the mage supports have been coming back quite heavily. How do you feel about the way the meta has been shifting in the bot lane? Since we've been seeing a lot of different champions show up down there, and now the Amumu, which is going to be most likely headed to that support role.
So I was going to say Amumu support, I think, is one of those low-key underrated picks because the amount of CC you can provide early on, it will greatly increase the ability for your ADC to do something early. So if you have someone like a Vayne, you can get a level 1 off by taking Silver Bolts at level 1 because they're going to be stuck long enough for you to get all 3 auto attacks off multiple times. So you should be able to get about 2 procs just with her base attack speed early on if you get that timed very, very well. And then if you do go in on the level 2 engage with a Vayne Amumu, then you've actually got an ability to get a condemn down very, very easily because they're already stuck by that first bandage toss, and when they try to run away, once again, stuck by another bandage toss.
Yeah, that change really shifted Amumu in a different direction. I really like when Riot does that, when they allow champions that have been stagnating, haven't been able to find a home to shift down somewhere else where they might be more useful. And honestly, with the PTP on the other side, they just responded with 2 very interesting picks. You have the Trundle, which is a top jungle flex pick. We don't know exactly where that's going to be headed, but I do expect that to be the jungle. And the red-headed demon herself, Miss Fortune, is returning. She did just recently receive a buff where that bullet time does 2 extra waves each level. So fantastic to see her coming back. Honestly, we're not going to be sure whether she's going to be a crit or lethality option.
It will be something to keep an eye out for. I have noticed that there's been a little bit more lethality builds lately. Like you have lethality Sivir, that is absolutely monstrous in the late game if you get it, allow it to pop off, because that Q is just going to deal so much damage. We do have Caitlyn getting picked up on the side of Terracotta, so they're obviously going for a little bit of a longer range poke. That's going to easily outrange the Miss Fortune, so the only thing they really have to worry about is the rain of bullets that comes down from Miss Fortune's E. And then we do see Cyborg Skull picking up a Janna. This is the first Janna pick that I think we've had in FOF Season 4. So this is going to be really interesting to see if Cyborg Skull is able to pilot it really well. I think that it's a good pick into Antunes because he likes those heavy engaged supports. It will provide you a lot of peel and a lot of protection for your ADC. However, I get this feeling that Terracotta is kind of expecting this, and so they're still going to be looking for those hard engages. And so it's going to be really interesting and really important to look at these next set of bans. With the TF and the Veigar both being taken out, again, these are targeted mid lane bans. So obviously it's Tien and Brown Jesus that are kind of like being postured as the better lanes. and they do believe that this Trundle is going jungle with that set ban, and then the Kale getting taken out as well. I don't know. Did you watch the lounge where we had Joshi on the other day?
No, I did not, but I'm always down to get an update.
I would say double check it. So Joshi actually mentioned Terracotta's comp last time, which is very similar to what they have here, taking the Kale. And he was like, if any other team were to go up against it, they would probably lose, just because of the nature of the team comp not having any damage, which they did change by picking up the Caitlyn. So Kale would have gone very well into that team comp right there. So I think that's a really good targeted band at Shielded Valor. And then we have this Malzahar and Annie pickup. I really like this because what it's going to do is, we might be, sorry, I thought Annie had gotten locked in, but not. We're going to go for the Syndra instead. An even better choice, because that is a lot of ranged damage that will be able to pop the Malzahar shield, which can then be followed up by a stun from the Scatter the Weak.
Yeah, absolutely. And the gauntlet has been thrown down with Shielded Valor taking the Riven in the top lane. One of the most mechanically challenging champions in the game. Honestly, I think that Terracotta has picked a combination of some easier champions in the Syndra and the Mumu and the Volibear, and then really difficult champions in the Riven and the Caitlyn. If you don't know why I say Caitlyn's difficult, then you need to watch some of the best Caitlyn players in the world to see how they cancel autos and traps and consistently get that extra bonus damage out. But yeah, I like the changes that Terracotta has going for. This composition has a lot more CC and damage than it did have previously, and they are going to be into some difficult lanes. I'm pretty sure Riven is very difficult to play into something like a Tahm Kench. So what's your expectation for how that match is going to go?
I actually think it's going to go in the advantage of Shielded Valor in this case, just because while Tahm Kench is very tanky and does have a lot of extra damage and a lot of basically he wants to fight and he has that extra shield, I just feel like Riven, when played correctly by a player who knows how to use her abilities properly, such as Shielded Valor, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Carrots to deal with. However, Shielded Valor versus Carrots is going to be a very exciting matchup regardless, just because these two players are so good mechanically that it's going to be a lot of fun watching it. I think we are going to need to be watching this mid lane, though, and that is going to be where we're going to see some key moments and some key shifts in the rotations that will cause some major effects across the map.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is going to be game one of the day, since we did have a forfeit. Terracotta versus Pentakill Teemo, please. I'm really excited to see how this one is going to go. Looks like an early invade is going to be shaping up. Both wards being dropped into that bush. And while the game is starting off, there is something I wanted to discuss with you. With the adaptation of range supports coming back, I think Janna is the weakest one available, because Lulu and Lulu, Karma, and Sona tend to do her job better. Where do you think Janna ranks on the tier list of supports right now?
So here's the thing. I will always rank Janna way higher than Sona, just bar none, because the shield that she provides is just so much more massive, and it can be used on the tower, which can help you out in more ways than you might imagine. The thing is, I want to put Janna at the very tip top. However, I feel like Lulu's a very close second in that case, just because the wild growth providing a lot of disruption to a team fight. You put that on a tank, that tank is not going down for the entire fight, and it's going to basically break up whatever backline or front line they're sitting on. But the Janna is going to just allow you to disengage and run away and provide a nice bit of healing. So in terms of team comp and what we've got right here, Janna is a far better choice than a Lulu would be, because we're looking for that disengage. However, I would say that if we were to put Lulu onto the other side, it would do really well as well, because you have a really hard engage with the Volibear and the Riven.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of useful utility. I'm just so interested that Riot has opted to go for these tanks, these supports returning. As you see, the Antunes did look for a Q, tried to get a little bit of a trade in there. Shielded Valor is going to take a little bit of damage in the top lane as well. But these lanes should be relatively neutralized for a bit of time until these jugglers can really find their way into some action.
I think it's a really good trade. Only going to be neutral as long as TN allows it to remain neutral in this mid lane. They're going to be shoving this wave in until Malzahar starts getting some more damage from the Malefic Visions and starting to shove this wave. Syndra is going to have the advantage and is going to be able to keep pushing them in, keep getting that spell shield taken down, and just eventually we could potentially see a kill here. I do like that we have TP pickups, though, for both Syndra and Malzahar. They're not looking to make this a kill lane. They're looking to make it a CC lane. and try and engage across the map and basically just try and affect as much
That's
as
going to be a Mumu landing the Q. Cyber Skull taking a bit of damage. The second Q isn't going to follow up, but yeah, you got to be more careful. That all in on the side of this Caitlyn and Mumu is going to be quite heavy, especially when those traps can start coming in.
Nice stun right there. So one thing that we need to look at this. Look,
Oh,
there we go. This is what I was talking
kill.
about. That right there. If they had the ignite, that would be a kill that's taken down by Tien. However, he's sitting in a really dangerous spot. All you need is one good EQ combo, and that's a dead Malzahar.
Yeah, absolutely. Tien could have went for that flash out. I guess he underestimated how much the corrupting potion burn was going to do, but that's going to open up a pretty big CS lead. Is now that Brown Jesus is going to be forced to teleport back into a state where that is going to be quite unfortunate, as the Antus is going to get caught out and is going to be forced to run away. This is a bunch of damage coming onto the Trundle. He's going to have to flash soon. Let's see which wall he's going to choose to flash forward. He's going to flash straight away, and that's going to be Trundle following it. So the first blood is going to be picked up by the jungle of PTB, Sol Verde.
That was pretty well done on the side of Solvarden. I believe that was a situation where Antunes just kind of overstepped. He was trying to get that deep ward vision because they were pushed up, but Trundle had already started their top-down clear rather than starting with a blue buff topside clear, which they probably were expecting. Just
here
like
we
look
go.
at this.
Oriri's going to be here in the top side. Carrot is going to take a bit of damage, get stunned up, be forced to flash away if he's going to live his life, but it looks like he's not going to find it, as Oriri is going to take the kill. Really good gank timing on the side of this Volibear, picking up a return kill and evening out the game.
That right there was an overextend by Carrots. They just kind of pushed up into the lane way too much. There were too many minions on the side of Ribbon in order for them to really like commit to an engage. And so this is where I was talking about, where I was saying Ribbon. Oh, right here we got Trundle getting jumped on, or jumping right onto Oriri. Yeah,
Oriri's taking a bunch of damage. This 1v1 is not going into the fest, but he does have the shield coming through, and the smite is going to come in. So Trundle is going to walk out with full HP. But yeah, really aggressive invade, and running into the Trundle was not what he expected.
It really isn't. So, like, this is what I meant when I said that Tom Kench is going to have a lot of trouble against this Riven, because Riven will just basically be able to fight him at every point of this game until Tom has a bunch of items and is able to be a massive tank. And even then, it's going to be really, 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 really tough to take him down quickly enough, take the Riven down quickly enough in order to, like, not have the rest of Terracotta show up for an assist.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tien is now taking a bunch of damage. He does still have the teleport available to come back to lane if he wants to get a safe recall off. It looks like he's trying to survive as long as he can and prevent the dive, but they're pushing, trying to pressure, as you see that Solvarden is in that jungle looking around, trying to find this Volibear.
Yeah, we are going to be looking for that, and I do like the fact that Oriri has decided to go ahead and try and sneak this Drake. Really good call on their part, because Trundle was last seen top, and in the meantime, like if we look at the map right now, we can see that Solvarden has decided to just basically steal all of the top side jungle, which is really, really good for them. They are going to miss out on this Ocean Drake, though. However, I don't think Ocean Drake is necessarily what PTP has to have. What they're going to be looking for is a Mountain Soul that's most likely going to be coming up here in a little bit. And with that, they'll have a bunch of resistances to where that healing will basically be negated.
Oh, that's going to be the stun landing from Tien. A lot of damage. Brown Jesus is going to be forced to flash away, but Oriri is going to follow, get a good ultimate, and Brown Jesus is going to die, but that's going to be him getting a pickup kill onto Oriri, as the Shielded Valor is going to be ganked, but he's going to be able to walk away quite safely. But yeah, really well done, and good on Brown Jesus to find that trade kill, and where he was basically dead to rights.
Yes, he knew he was going to go down, so he basically was like, you know what, I'm just going to Nether Grasp you under tower, and I'm going to get a 1-for-1 kill. So he does go down, giving another kill over to the side of Terracotta. However, he picks himself up that extra gold, like you said. And with that, he's going to keep himself pretty much even with this Syndra. He's still a little bit behind. He's about a
Oh, no, here's another gank that's going to be him getting stunned up yet again. Brown Jesus is getting punished, and Tien is going to find it. A bunch of damage coming out of Shielded Valor is trading quite heavily onto Carrots. Ultimate is available if he wants to go for an all-in, but he's going to opt to not. As now Tien's going to get a free push and be able to secure another safe recall. So Brown Jesus teleports back, dies again to the support coming down this time.
We saw this exact same style play happen in the top lane the other day. I believe it was for trying to think of who it was. I think it was Anti, actually, on the set, where he just TP'd at the wrong time, and it was a return gank. And in this case, instead of it being the Volibear, it was the Amumu. Really smart. Good fight potential up here in the top lane. Shield of Valor just kind of continuing this. I like the aggression. I like how much damage he's coming out. We do see that Carrots is kind of basically trying to bait this fight under tower, though.
The time for talk is over.
Yeah, that's going to be ultimate pop.
Shield of Valor going to be a flash.
Flash in. Beautiful combo, but good flash on Carrots to make sure he gets out of that.
Come on, Found. I'm not the shoutcaster here. I'm the one who's trying to just remain calm and just describe what's going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow up, man. I'm here for you. This is what I'm doing. I've got the plays, I got the brains. I'm trying to follow up. I'm making sure that you got your avenue to show everyone how smart you are about the game. As yet again, Brown Jesus trouble taking a bunch of damage, and the grave is where he's gonna find himself as a solo kill picked up for TN.
Good use of the Unleashed Power and Scatter of the Weak, getting rid of that spell shield. See, again, this is why Syndra is such a great counter to Malzahar, because there's literally no protection for him in this middle lane, like by himself. He's got to have the rest of his teammates in order to keep himself up. And so that's going to extend this lead that Syndra has already created for themselves. TN doing a fantastic job maintaining their CS, continuing to fight, and that's going to mean that Terracotta is going to have huge amount of pressure as the wedge just starts to push up this mid lane. It's going to start separating the amount of pressure that is available for PTP, as they're going to have to worry about these side lanes even more, or they're going to have to take care of TN.
Yeah, absolutely. These solo lanes for Terracotta are putting on a show. CS advantages in both sides, and then the bot side is winning as well. This is a nightmare for Sylvarden, where all your lanes are losing and you have to try to gank into that. And it looks like he's going to look for his opening onto this bot side.
He is going to be looking for that opening. There was a position earlier where I like the fact that Graviel and Cyberskull are letting themselves get pushed in.
Oh, here he's going. Antunes is going to get knocked up, and that is going to be the ultimate forced out. He's taking a bunch of damage, forced to flash, but the ultimate from Trundle is going to take away those resistances, as Antunes is going to make it out of with his life. But Graviel and Cyberskull are going to be able to get a safe push in here and hopefully look for a nice recall.
Yep, that Curse of the Sad Mummy came out a little bit early, but it did still get the root onto Trundle. It just didn't snag it on it to Janna. Doesn't really matter, though, as we see Terracotta's already taken the Rift Herald top side. That means they're going to get this top side turret, get all those the plate gold as well. That's going to be really, really good for them, and that's just going to extend their lead even more. So now the wedge has kind of shifted a little bit to where it's shoving in the top lane. It's going to continue shoving into this mid lane, and essentially the only pressure that is left is in this bot side. However, Misfortune has
here we go.
behind.
TN's gonna be finding everything onto Brown Sugar. Jesus, that's a lot of damage. TN getting the autos out, and he's gonna once again go on a rampage as Brown Jesus is gonna find himself in the death chamber yet again. Well, this mid lane is not going into the favor of this Malzahar, consistently getting all in by Syndra.
Brown Jesus just doesn't have the damage right now, and that's kind of the like he's 4 kills, he's 4 deaths, and he's only managed to pick up a single kill, and it wasn't even on to TN. So TN has just basically gotten a free lane this game. They're really far ahead. They've got a good set of stacks on the tier. They've got a good set of stacks on the Dark Seal, so they are just getting a lot of extra AP, and that's just making them really, really powerful. And the thing about Syndra is she's a burst main. She's going to put all of her damage up in front. All she needs to do is get past that spell shield, and she's good to go to just basically one-shot, as we saw, the Malzahar, and essentially the Misfortune is going to be in the same position. Janna's going to be in the same position, and it's going to be really, really scary when these team fights start. And with this dragon setup, there's no reason for Terracotta to let it happen.
Team fight, but that's going to be Sylvarden taking a bunch of damage, and he's going to be the first one to die. Now Cyberskull is going to use the ultimate, try to get out, but Graviel's going to get stunned up as Auriri is looking for it, and a long-range stun is going to find Antunes, is going to get the ignite kill onto Graviel. And now Brown Jesus is forced to flash away, but he's going to take a bunch of damage, and is he going to drop as TN picks up 2 with the Dark Spear? And woo, this Syndra is going mad with so much damage coming out.
As we can see right there, there was a little bit of a sidestep in the sense, like the ace in the hole was actually going to find a target, but they went down instead. But that was just a beautifully placed Q by TN.
Yeah, absolutely. Making his Dragon Ball namesake proud, as he's consistently found solo kills, getting a bunch of damage out. 6-0 on this Syndra. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to base, picks up a Medjai's, because he's already got 10 stacks on that Dark Seal. And whew, this is getting rough, as this mid lane is now exploding into other parts of the game. And yes, TN has made me proud, grabbing up that Dark Seal, and he's looking for 25 stacks.
He has got the Medjai Soul Stealer. He is just ready to go. He is going to basically be popping all of PTP in an instant. They really don't have a lot that will be able to stay
Oh,
alive.
Iron
And just
Tower
look
is
at
going to
this.
get slowed up by Cyber Skull, and now Gravio is looking for the chase. The Make It Rain hasn't come out just yet. There it is, but there's not enough follow-up. And yeah, Iron Tower walking very dangerously, taking a bunch of damage.
They did take a bunch of damage, but there was I do think Iron Tower knows how to pilot Caitlyn very, very well, and they are very good at it. There was a game the other day, I believe it was Iron Tower, where they were under turret up against an Ezreal. They actually ended up taking 2 or 3 Qs, which was a little unnecessary. They didn't need to be taking those to the face, but they took the hits and were still able to dodge to the side, get off the reset auto attack in order to get that headshot, and it worked out very, very well for them. I like
Oh, here we go.
disengage.
Answers is coming back. Shield of Valor is going to get the knockup, and Cyber Skull is going to find himself looking at the gray screen as both ultimates are going to miss. Ooh, airballing for Terracotta, but the Janet is going to drop nonetheless. And, you know, I'm going to call myself a mind reader on the side of this Caitlyn. I know for a fact she just greeted for her call stacks. Good on her for picking him up so she could go back and get that Kraken Slayer. So, after the game, Iron Tower, hit me up. See if I was right.
So I do want to say that I really like what Terracotta has done, where they're taking these engages that are a little bit more risky.
God.
But for them, it's totally fine, because if you look at this right here, they've got the damage, they've got the rotation, you've got Oriri right now.
Oh no, so wants this fight, but I don't know if you can take it. That's going to be the ultimate full channel, and is not going to do enough damage to pick up either kill on either Shield of Valor or Oriri. As so Varden walking up with balls of steel to a really strong Riven.
See, Caitlyn Miss Fortune is in the exact same situation.
Oh no, that's gonna be the
Malzahar
Abyssal Void is gonna get interrupted, and now Tien putting out a bunch of damage onto this Tahm Kench, and Antunes is gonna pick it up. Darren Jesus is now in trouble, or Riri's behind him, and goodbye for that is your 6th death of the game, son. You were trying to help your teammate who was already dead.
And it was done quickly enough to where Iron Tower does not lose the ultimate shot. So they still got their ace in the hole because they weren't able to get the shot off in time. That's going to allow them to get a pick off here very, very shortly.
Oh, here we go. Shielded Valor's going to get exhausted. Bunch of damage taken out. Gravio's getting the autos out. Is he going to be able to pick it up? And with the no cooldown shield and Tien is here. Cyber Skull is down, and Gravio is going to find himself down as well. As this Tien is popping off with already 20 stacks onto this Medjai's.
That was really, really rough. See, I was gonna say that if Caitlyn wanted to rotate down, they'd be able to get the kill. Instead, it was Syndra who rotated down. They just decided, you know what, we don't need to get our Caitlyn ahead. We'll just let them keep worrying about the farm, that sort of thing. We're gonna go ahead and get Syndra even farther ahead, get them some more stacks on that Medjai's. And with that, they've already got 20 stacks. They're only 5 away from having it fully maxed out. And there's really very little that PTP is able to do without Syndra making a mistake and stepping into a vision that they are unaware that they're stepping into.
Yeah, she's at the stage already where she basically has to be CC'd to death because there's too much damage coming up. So much AP on her already. And now Brown Jesus, he's going to be in trouble just walking up, getting Scatter of the Week as good.
One Scatter of the Week stun brings Malzahar down to a quarter of their health.
And she then unleashed the power as now Iron Tower is going to get knocked up. Bunch of damage. Carrot and Shielded Val and Soul Varden are flashing forward, trying to pick up the kill as he's eaten up. And the Tahm Kench is going to find the Caitlyn. As now a teleport's coming in. They are looking to, and Shielded Val is here by himself right now. Tien is on his way. This is a really strong Shin. The Scatter of the Week is going to come out soon. And Soul Varden is going to be the first one to drop. Carrot's taking way too much damage as he is now going to get stunned up by the Amumu, stunned up by the Syndra, knocked up by the Riven. And that's another kill by Tien.
Tien was trying to give them the kill, was trying to just be like, you guys got this, it's fine. It's no, you guys are taking too long. Fine, I'm doing it myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Tien needs to feed the peasants some gold, though. They could use it. You know, Riven getting another kill wouldn't hurt. 7 assists is probably quite tilting. As you see that Shielded Valor is trying to troll to the maximum, having built up a Medjai's for himself. Not sure what AP ratios Riven has. I'm sure she has at least one, though.
I'm sure she has at least one on there. I do like, so I think the thing we need to look at here is the rotations that Terracotta has been pulling out. So basically by teleporting up there, this is where Riven did a really, really good job of just basically sticking around and keeping themselves alive. You have the shield.
You have Brown Jesus. It's time for your 8th death of the game. Who's it going to go to? It looks like it's going to be Iron Tower as headshot, boom, and that's an 8th kill. 8th death for Brown Jesus. He is struggling today.
Yeah, so it's like on her key burst, she's got a really good shield and a good stun.
Oh my gosh, Sheridan, I want to let you talk. More soldiers trying to find themselves into the gray screen, and Solvarden taking a bunch of damage, getting flashed in. Ariri is going to pick it up. Cyber Skull is going to be forced to run away, and that is a teleport coming in. Too much damage onto the Janna, who's dropping, and teleport's going to be there, but it's not going to amount to much, as they probably going to opt to not fight this any longer.
They see, unfortunately, PTP is just too far behind. There's no objectives for them to really pressure. The only thing that they can do is try and take something on the opposite side of the map. But unfortunately,
oh my god, Keps just wants to give over his life. This is just so much damage that he's going to have to try to avoid this. He's getting a bunch onto this Caitlyn. No, Iron Tire's by himself, as Carrots is going to be forced to go away, as now Gravio's on the run. Oriri is chasing down Brown Jesus. The stun is here. Flash away from the side of Malzahar. Carrots is going to be trying to walk himself out. Tien is going to be here. He is not going to get knocked up, though. Carrots is going to get stunned up by the Scatter of the Week, as now we're going to see how tanky this Tahm Kench can be, and the Catfish is going to stay alive for a little bit longer. Oriri's is really low. On Antunes is trying to sacrifice his life. Valor's, it looks like he will drop shutdown onto the Amumu.
There it comes.
And Solvarden is going to stay alive, as he's going to chomp out Oriri, who's going to give over a shutdown.
That was a little bit rough on the side of Terracotta. That was very... I'm going to just straight up say that was a very poorly played fight on their side. That was really well done on the side of PTP, though, measuring their aggression, making sure they don't engage too hard and don't overextend, because that is exactly what Terracotta did. They separated themselves out. They took the fight on two fronts, some trying to chase down the Tahm Kench, while others going up towards the tier 2 tower and trying to get a fight over there. Tien did a very good job, and I think could have potentially 1v5'd right there, taking on the rest of
what is Brown Jesus doing? What are you doing, man? Oh my god, Iron Tower just picks it up. He's walking up 2 HP. Q takes off the spell shield, and R knocks it down.
Brown Jesus is in a position where he's trying to fight a Caitlyn under tower, while Caitlyn's auto attack range, their base auto attack range, is greater than the tower's aggro. So that's something you don't want to be doing at all.
Yikes, mate. Yikes.
Yeah, that's it. That's the scary part about Caitlyn, is she's a sniper for a reason. She can basically hit you under tower while staying just outside of it. If you're positioned wrong, you've got to make sure that you're kind of hanging back, which for a Malzahar is really not that difficult. You drop your Malefic Visions down, and you put it onto that minion in front. You basically keep it stacked up with your Q in order to keep the silence, and then you potentially get a silence as well. I do like Shield of Valor walking out and just blitzcrank question marking right away.
Yeah, a bunch of damage onto Carrots, who's going to find his life taken in not a short amount of time. It looks like Repair hasn't dropped it. Shield of Valor taking a bunch of damage. Antune's going to get the stun onto Carrots, though, as the Catfish is trying his best to walk away. Abyss of Vorge is here, but he's stunned up, and that's going to be canceled. Shield of Valor is going to find it, as now both Antunes and Shield of Valor are going to be on the run. Trundle Pillar is here. A bunch of damage onto Antunes, and this sad Mummy is going to be dropping, as Shielded Valor is going to not die for his sins, but they are going to sacrifice a Samumu yet again.
The Amuma's going to get sacrificed, but that's kind of the role of the support. You just let yourself go. Look at the damage Tien is doing to a tank.
And he just flashes on it. He flashes on Tien, and the Unleashed Power is going to drop him. And so much damage coming out on Shielded Valor, but not enough to kill, as the Malzahar alone is just not putting in enough work to take down a Riven at a 3rd HP.
The Nether Grub just isn't quite strong enough, and look at that. You've got another Scout of the Week. It shows PTP just how far behind they are by getting hit by that Scout of the Week. It really, they should just be running for the hills at this point, unfortunately. They're so shoved into their own base. There's nothing that they can really do to try and pressure this out, because we're going to see an inhib fall here, and once this inhib goes down, it's basically going to mean that Terracotta is
knocked up on Tien, a bunch of damage, forced to flash on Carrot's side. And now he's taking a bunch of damage, and the Iron Tower is going to get the headshot onto Gravio. 1 HP left. Trundle's going to die instantly, so this inhib is still going. But the fight looked good until Tien flashed away and still managed to stay alive.
Yes, see, that's what I mean, where I was saying that Tien has done a very, very good job maintaining their presence in these fights while keeping their threat bubble very, very close to the rest of PTP. So this is going to be the top tower falling as well. They have overstayed their welcome a little bit in this base. They've got plenty of minion pressure that is basically just going to keep shoving into their base. This is a free Baron for them to take, because there's no way for PTP to basically leave their base be open like this with all of the minions shoving in, attempt to stop the Baron and or steal it, and then come back and still have all 5 team members left. Yeah, someone's going to have to die to stop this.
Yeah, that does look to be the case. There's a lot of gold onto these members. You see Iron Tower hitting the Baron from across the wall. Only a couple 80 carries can do that, being Helios with Sniper and Jinx with Rockets, and also the Void Puppy if you choose to go that option as well. As that is going to be a very slow Baron, but they are periodically taking it. We'll see how long it does take them to complete. It looks like only a couple more seconds, as there's no idea on the side
Look at
of
the fact that
Petrichor.
Caitlyn isn't even in the pit. Like, they're just sitting outside the pit, shooting it. That's nuts. I'm sorry. I feel like Caitlyn is one of those ADCs that has such long range that she's able to do things you don't expect an ADC to be able to do from the distance that they're at. And it's such a great tool that I feel like if you don't know your positioning well enough, you are just not able to take advantage of.
Yeah, there was once a time where Riot said that Caitlyn was going to have the longest base auto attack range. She's going to be our sniper, and then they proceeded to introduce 3 champions that have longer range than her. So it's weird, but you know, she still is the original OG, and being able to hit both Baron and Dragon outside of the pit is quite useful, especially when you're trying to have some defensive posture.
And with that, that's going to be the only objective that PTP has that they're able to even put any semblance of pressure on to try and protect is this tier 2 turret, because they're basically just going to be free pushed into their base in this top and mid lane. And unfortunately, that means that they're committing a lot of team members to stop this from happening, while you've got so much pressure moving up in the mid lane right now that with that Amumu, that Caitlyn, basically any squishy that's caught out of position here is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
and Trundle is a squishy.
Tradition is going to be so hard, and as he's surrounded by everyone, and Shielded Valor is going to find it. Carrot dies instantly. That's supposed to be the tank son, but Tien is just too strong.
Yeah, Trundle he was not in a position to really come online this game. All of his lanes were losing really hard. Nice flash,
and the curse of the Sad Mummy lands onto 2, as that's going to be Brown Jesus drying for his 11th time in the game, as Gravio is now getting chased out, and the ace in the hole is putting them down, as that's an ace for Terracotta, and at 24 minutes, they will be taking it, and what a fantastic and dominating victory for the side of Terracotta, who could be ending it or going for the inhib instead.
They're pulling a Rex Regalis where they're like, let's secure, make sure that we're absolutely certain that this is going to be ours. They are going to go ahead and finish it off here, just go ahead and end it, which I think is a smart play. Very well done by Terracotta, very good map control. Pentakill, Teemo, please, really got shut down.
Yeah, what we just witnessed is that's one of the solo queue games that the FF would have been at least 8 minutes ago, but it's here now. Fantastic game. Shielded Valor showing he can play a different carry role, bringing out his Riven, something we have not seen very often. Tien showing that he can solo kill and solo 1v9. Look at that damage, 25,000 coming out of this injury. 24 minutes into the game.
I am curious as to how much damage the Janna actually shielded, because I think that's actually going to be really indicative, because I don't want PTP to think that they performed poorly this game. Unfortunately, they just had losing lanes. With the Malzahar getting counterpicked by the Syndra and then taking the Tahm Kench into a Riven, those are just lanes that are not going to do well. You know, you're going to have to try and play them very, very safe, and unfortunately require a lot of presence from your jungler in order to win them. The Misfortune Janna bot lane seems like it did pretty well against the Caitlyn Amumu, and I think that was probably like PTP's crowning achievement in this, was just how well they did down there, where it wasn't until you had Tien and Shielded Valor and Oriri really rotating around the map that they started getting kind of broken apart and shut down. And unfortunately, with Misfortune's range being as low as it was, she was always going to be at some kind of a disadvantage during all of these fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, that's going to be the conclusion of our first game. But don't go anywhere, because there's more to come. FOF will be right back with an interview. And frankly, we cannot wait to hear from the victorious Terracotta Gaming.
I'ma have to bust it. I'ma have to bust it.
Hello, folks, and welcome back. I am your friendly neighborhood shoutcaster, Sharogan. This is not Chris Edgeworth doing the interview with the mid laner for TN over here. We have got TN. How are you doing?
Doing good, thanks.
Yeah. I will say that Chris and I do share a haircut, so at least we've got that going for each other, which is nice. But with that, I want to ask you about this draft and kind of like what was your plan going in against PTP? Because there's some interesting picks in there that I think we definitely want to talk about.
So today I think the draft plan centered around top lane, like whether or not they wanted to pick Set early or not. Because we wanted to showcase our top laner's talent, you know, get him something like Riven, Irelia, Camille, something like that, so he could really show what he's made of. Mm-hmm. So that's what like the basis of, and also, you know, B1 Amumu every time. Amumu.
Yeah, I guess you guys are kind of the followers of the Amumu support at this point, huh?
Yeah, we love it. Antunes this is like his fourth game on it or something, but he's just like the best Amumu I've seen.
Yeah, it's honestly, I feel like there's a lot of people who just don't think it's very strong, but it's a sleeper at this point that is going to wake people up. I do want to ask you, so like, because at the very end of that draft, you picked the Riven and the Syndra up. You almost gave us the Annie, but I feel like you decided Syndra into Malzahar was the better play.
Yeah, we were hovering. Our coach is hovering Annie for some reason, but I really wanted to play Syndra. I mean, I think statistically the matchup isn't like as good as I feel it is, but something about the fact that I can just QE him and break his passive heal just gives me the confidence to kill Malzahar players. So I just wanted the Syndra into that pretty much. And we just wanted Riven for our top laner just to show what he has.
Now, with that Tom Kench, was he feeling pretty confident into that right away, or was it basically just like, look, I can do anything with Riven in the top lane?
I think it's like, I think he's like, listen, I can win pretty much most matchup guys. I'm shielded Valor, I can do it all. But but he's like, but into Tom Kench, this is a farm lane, so don't expect much in the early game. But I think he was ready to solo kill about any other champion, so you guys should be ready in the league.
Well, I kind of want to ask you about your communications, because this was a game where you guys had pretty much good control across the entire map. I think there was one team fight that I think you may have misplayed a little bit, and it was a little bit more aggressive than you needed it to be. But it seemed like you all were on the same page, and I know that you all kind of coalesced recently. So can you give us a little bit of an insight what those comms are like?
I think everybody's just like pitching in when they can. Me and Antunes are calling for plays, and Iron Tower like calls for plays when he says like I can't do this, we can do that, I can play this. So pretty much everybody's just saying what like we can play around with our champions. And I'd say like Antunes and like is probably like the main play shot caller because he finds the most plays. But we have like pretty clear comms until it's time for a play. I think we've learned to communicate with each other pretty well. Everybody like steps up when it's their time to make a play.
Always the most important thing when figuring out teamwork. Now, the last question I've got for you is going to be, we've got a game coming up now. SEAL Team Chris versus Restless Lake Syndrome. Who do you think is favored for that matchup?
I'd have to go with Restless Lake Syndrome just because like I've liked some of the stuff I've seen from them. And SEAL Team Chris, they don't like it's hard to judge them right because their record isn't accurate to like their skill, but I don't know. Something kind of tells me that SEAL Team Chris is going to be coming out, like ramping up. So, I'm gonna switch it to SEAL Team Chris. I believe in SEAL Team Chris.
All right, Tien believes in STC. That's something you always want to hear. Thank you so much for doing the interview.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. And with that, we're going to be taking a quick break. We'll be right back, folks, with the next game in our lineup, which is going to be SEAL Team Chris versus the Restless Lake Syndrome. Stick around.